but negotiating is the name of the game, and it's a healthy business practice. The amount of money I would have to charge for you to be able to use my copyrighted works in its entirety forever, it would be disrespectful. I wouldn't. Hey y'all, it's Kameron the K coming to you guys with a new video. So in today's video, I'm going to be spilling the legal tea on what really is licensing and usage rights when it comes to influencer marketing contracts. As a licensed attorney, as well as an Instagrammer, YouTuber, content creator, influencer, entrepreneur, I think I got them all. I'm able to bridge the gap between the two, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So if you're excited about this video, definitely thumbs it up for more videos like this so I can just continue to spill some tea, y'all, because it's hot, it's real, and I got it, okay? Kettle is ready. What? So I'm gonna break this video down in 3 different sections. The first is going to be what is licensing and what is usage rights. The second is going to be why they are needed. And the third and final important thing is going to be how you can use these terms to get additional money. So we all know that you have to come up with a rate when it comes to your deliverables, which essentially means the content in which you're creating for a brand, company, etc. So you can also tack on additional fees and payment once you understand how to utilize specific contract terms. Yes, I'm only touching on licensing and usage rights in this video, but there are other terms you can use in your contracts. So comment below if you want me to continue to spill the tea and share the other terms. I'm just here to help, okay? So first I want to talk about licensing. What is licensing? I do have notes, so I will be looking down, just putting y'all on notice. I completely forgot to give my disclaimer. So, hello. Although I am a licensed attorney, I am not your attorney. If you need an attorney, seek counsel in your local jurisdiction by reaching out to your state bar association. Just throwing it out there. This is only for educational and informative purposes only. Back to the video. So licensing is essentially a contract between a licensor and a licensee. The licensor is the person who owns the content or owns the license, and the licensee is who is being transferred over a specific limited usage of that license or the license in its entirety. But going into more detail about how you become the owner of a license, right? So let me use a photographer, for example. It's like the easy example to use. Once you take a photo, click, you then become the owner of the license to that content that you just took. Whether it's a photo, it's a video, etc., the photographer essentially immediately becomes the owner of the license to that content. So here's an important pro tip for influencers. If you're working with a photographer on a continuous basis, make sure you have a contract, even if you're not working with them on a continuous basis. You should make sure you have a contract, period. But make sure you have a contract with that photographer so they're aware that when they take your specific photos, you are then the license owner. Because I would hate for you to be working with a photographer, it's going great, they have an understanding, y'all don't need a contract, it's all fine until you do. And a network reaches out to you or another brand reaches out to you and wants to use the content that you shot with that photographer, and in the contract with that brand or that network it says, are you the license owner? And you sign it not knowing, thinking, of course I am. I was in the photo, right? Of course you are. Wrong answer. So the photographer can then go back and sue you and or sue the brand because they were the actual owner of that content. They also can intervene between you and that brand or you and that network or whatever opportunity it may be and get a percentage or the money in its entirety because they are the actual owner of that license, if that makes sense. You cannot grant someone a right to a license that you do not own. A clean example of this outside of photography would be like songs. So when you download a song, you're not becoming the owner of that song. You essentially are getting a limited license to use that song for personal use, i.e. listening to it. Or maybe you are purchasing that song to download it to use in a YouTube video, so then you now have a limited license, but you still don't own the rights to that song or that artist or that music, right? You're just using it for a limited purpose, i.e. the beginning of an intro for a YouTube video or the outro. But then that way, if there is an issue as far as like copyright infringement, that artist cannot come to you and say, ooh, alert, copyright infringement, because you own a limited license to use that song in a specific purpose, in which as long as you're within those confines, you are fine. So that limited usage that you are using that song for whatever the case may be is called the usage rights. So usage rights, look at that segue. Wow, I see you, girl. So usage rights define the when, the where, and the how of the license. So once you've established what type of license you want to give someone, so whether it's a limited license, a personal use license, etc., there's so many different types, right? But the usage rights are really the nitty-gritty details to describe exactly how that brand, our context as influencers, how that brand will use your content. Where will my content be going? When is the brand allowed to use it? And how is the brand allowed to use it? Is the brand allowed to use it for only digital purposes? Are they only allowed to use it in their newsletters? Are they only allowed to repurpose it on their social media accounts, giving you credit for that? So that's where you get into the juicy part of, I guess, the contracts when it comes to licensing and usage rights. So licensing and usage rights are so important in the influencer marketing industry because it's all about advertising. And as a creator, you are creating content for the brand to make money from, right? They're going to profit off of the content, profit off of your copyrighted works. Therefore, you should be getting additional payment, but we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But because of that, that is why this is such an important aspect to this business that a lot of times gets looked over, or influencers just miss it in the contract and don't understand how to use it and how to read it and how to customize that section of the contract to make sure that they're comfortable with the rights in which they are granting to brands. Because I've seen more times than not that brands are including a complete license transfer, which is crazy. You never want to agree to anything in perpetuity, perpetually, worldwide, royalty-free, and there's no high payment incentive. But honestly, I just redact anything that mentions perpetual, perpetuity, worldwide, royalty-free. Like, I'm not doing none of that. Because at the end of the day, the amount of money I would have to charge for you to be able to use my copyrighted works in its entirety forever, it would be disrespectful. I wouldn't even be able to charge you. It's millions and millions and billions of dollars. How do you price that? You don't. So redact that. Moving along. I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm back. So this is something I wrote down. I really just want to read it for y'all. So just vibe with me for a second. So licensing the use for the sale of our products, we're thus providing a brand the ability to use our copyrighted works and likeliness for their gain. Therefore, us creators should be paid additional money outside of the payment for the creation of the actual deliverable. Let me break that down so y'all hear me. When I create content for a brand, they either reached out to me, well, not something they did. I don't do a lot of cold pitching, if any. I can count on one hand how many cold pitches I've done. I'm blessed that brands have reached out to me. I do organically pitching, which I have a video on that. If you want to see it in the cards, I'll link it up there. And yeah, that's on that. So when a brand reaches out to me, I'm like, you came to me. It's something you like, something you want me to help you with, which I love, especially if it's a brand that I already use, or I really want to try, or I know my audience would love. It's an amazing experience. And brands understand that when you reach out to their ideal influencer, they're going to be reaching directly to their ideal client, their ideal customer to purchase their products, which is great. It's really a win-win on both sides, right? Because me, the influencer, love the brand, build a relationship with them. I'm providing great content and great products and quality to my audience, and then my audience is purchasing from the brand. It's like this perfect triangular relationship when everything goes right. So with that being said, once I create the content and I'm giving it to the brand, and if I don't set any boundaries on that, they're able to repurpose my content over and over and over again without having to pay me or anyone else to recreate that type of content, and they're still profiting off it over and over and over again when we only get paid that one payment during that one time. Yeah, it seems unfair because it is. Because this also, you know what, let me just go ahead and lead it to what y'all really want to know, is how you can utilize licensing and usage rights in order to make more money. Because I hear a lot of people say, well, why should I charge more when I'm not doing any additional work, right? And I get that, and it may feel uncomfortable, but I'm sure by now, hopefully, if you've been paying attention to taking notes, you see the value that you bring to a brand when you create the content for them and how they can reuse that content over and over again and constantly make money off of you. So when it comes to trying to figure out how to price that over and over and over usage rights and the limited license in which you transfer and grant the brand, there's several different ways to do that. There actually is a website which I just stumbled upon, and I'll leave the link down below so you can use a calculator of how you calculate the usage. And with this, it really focuses on, I kind of glanced at the website. I've never used it, but I may, partake. with that website, it's really focused on photography, but there is ways for you to customize it when it comes to the length of time, where it's going to be used, etc. So it's a really great resource if you're just starting out or you just don't feel comfortable coming up with a number. But here are 3 different ways that I come up with a number when it comes to my usage rights, because it really does vary. One, there is sometimes that I do just calculate the amount of usage rights and license within my base rate that I provide to the brand. So we're communicating via email and they tell me this is just our standard. We always want to have 60 days worth of usage rights. What is your rate? After we of course talk about the deliverables, okay? And then I'm able to give them a full view of what that price will be immediately right then. Or even if it's after I receive the contract, I can come back and say, with the extra 60 days of usage rights, I do charge X, or sometimes I just kind of naturally lump it in there. Again, if I'm working with a brand on a long-term kind of relationship, which we love a long-term collaboration, we do, hello, hi, then I have a better idea of what that looks like and how they want to use the content, because I already had the contract with them before or the contract's ongoing, etc. So you can calculate your usage rights within your base rate. That's one option. The second option, what you could do is to just double your base rate. So whatever rate you're charging for your deliverables or your content that you're producing for the brand, just double that and charge that per month. You can come up with a package that you have. So maybe you double it and that includes an extra 30 days because you've already included like 30 days within your base rate. That's a way to do it, so you can double it. Then the last way that I do is sometimes I just use whatever my base rate is and just charge them that per month, if that makes sense. So instead of doubling it, tripling it, I'll just use that as my rate for usage. But again, it varies because every contract is so different. I need to get the number, but I reviewed so many, probably 100 contracts at minimum at this point in my career, whether it's for me or for my clients. And I've just noticed there is no contract that is exactly the same, because contracts are so customizable and personal to the collaboration in which you and whoever you're working with are creating. Like, it's supposed to be personal. It isn't really a copy paste thing. Of course, there are ways to get like the foundational basics with like templates that are drafted by attorneys and things of that nature. But essentially you want to be able to customize that contract so that you and whoever you're working with feel comfortable. Of course, there's going to be a compromise, but negotiating is the name of the game and it's a healthy business practice. So don't be afraid to negotiate. Get out there and negotiate for what you deserve. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. I hope this video was valuable and helpful, and this was a wealth of resources and information for you. Don't forget to check the description box below. I will leave some more information down below, as well as like the link that I mentioned for you to be able to calculate your usage. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share this video with your family, friends, and colleagues. Thumbs it up, comment below, all of the things. I'm trying to be able to pour into as many people as possible and spill this legal tea. I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Later.